ISIS and all terror groups around the world are interested in taking over the world as we know it and replacing it with weird secular ideas. Don't stand for it, interrupt it with challenging our officials on immigration, housing, student supports for foreign students, etc. at all. We should not have temporary workers here filling up our housing, nor landing on our shores basically unvetted. Asylum is not necessary for people who cannot be vetted. They should be deported immediately. I don't cry for those who don't make it to our shores in their sinking boats. Find out the different perspectives on our Canadian MPs who all voted in raises recently to make our MPs richer than even the EU officials who keep messing with our laws. Oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son? And where have you been, my darling young one? I've stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked and I crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. And it's a hard rain's a-gonna fall. Oh, what did you see, my blue-eyed son? And what did you see, my darling young one? I saw a newborn baby with wild wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a black branch with blood that kept drippin'. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a-bleedin'. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 talkers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. And it's a hard rain's a-gonna fall. And what did you hear, my blue-eyed son? And what did you hear, my darling young one? I heard the sound of the thunder that roared out a warning. I heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. I heard 100 drummers whose hands were a-blazin'. I heard 10,000 whisperin', and nobody listenin'. I heard one person starve. I heard many people logan. I heard the song of a poet who died in the gutter. I heard the sound of a clown who cried in the alley. And it's a hard rain's a-gonna fall. Oh, what did you meet, my blue-eyed son? And who did you meet, my darling young one? I met a young child beside a dead pony. I met a white man who walked a black dog. I met a young woman. Her body was burning. I met a young girl. She gave me a rainbow. I met one man who was wounded in love. I met another man who was wounded in hatred. And it's a hard rain's a-gonna fall. And what'll you do now, my blue-eyed son? And what'll you do now, my darling young one? I'm a-goin' back out for the rain starts a-fallin'. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest dark forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their waters, where their home in the valley meets the damp, dirty prison, and the executioner's face is always well hidden, where hunger is ugly, where the souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll tell it and speak it, and think it and breathe it, and reflect from the mountains, so all souls can see it. And I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, but I'll know my song well before I start singing. And it's a hard rain's a-gonna fall. Songwriters, Bob Dylan. For non-commercial use only. Data from Music Smatch.